What's going on, people? It's Mr. back again with the Door review. And yes, Forest lost 2-1 and 2 defeats on a bounce. But I've got some special guests. I'm going to start with Lee. How you doing, Lee?
I'm good, mate. Despite the result, I'm good.
Yeah. We've got Matt. Don't ask.
We'll cover it, Ben, I'm sure.
We'll cover it. We've got Matt. How you doing, Matt?
Very well. Nice day out. Just spoiled by the result, but other than that, it's nice, wasn't it?
It was. We've got another special guest. As everyone knows, he was on there last season, and he's got the biggest grin on his face, as everyone knows. How are you doing, Craig?
Yeah, very well, thanks, Mr. Door. Thanks for having me on again, mate.
Oh, dude. I don't know where to start. We'll start with you, Craig. Today's win. How are you feeling about it?
I'm absolutely delighted. I think that we've had a very, very changed side. There's a lot of players out. So Stanislas, Danjuma, both the cooks, so both Steve and Lewis. Lerma is out for Bitegate. Do a little bit of research on that as well against Sheffield Wednesday. Took 8 months to sort, and to be honest, don't agree with the EFL's decision at all. So I'm very pleased. We've got a lot of youngsters coming through as well, and it's not something that really Bournemouth have been well known for, is our academy. However, we're seeing players like Ibsen Rossi, Zamora, Jaden Anthony, Kilkenny, even Mark Travers come through the ranks as well. Aaron Ramsdale come through the ranks. So there's a lot of players that are coming through now, and there's a lot of promise. And getting results like we have done today and against West Brom last Friday, there's so much promise, and it's an exciting time to be a Bournemouth fan. And I think we're going to be a force to be reckoned with, once we get those players back. Well, if we can keep hold of Danjuma. Rumours are that he's on his way to Liverpool. That's the latest one. Desperate not to lose him. But yeah, absolutely over the moon. Fantastic result. It's never easy going to the City ground. I was having a look at some of the stats. And
he had a good record against you as well.
Yeah, you did. I don't believe in the last 5. I don't believe we've actually. I think we've lost 3, drawn 2. If I'm right in thinking.
Yeah, you are right. Yeah.
So you've had a very, very good record against us. But these youngsters have got a point to prove, and that's why I'm so over the moon and so chuffed, because we are doing what we're doing at the moment with a bit of a, well, you could call it a makeshift side, but I think it's going to be hard for some of these players to get back in.
Matt, 2-1 defeat. How are you feeling?
Well, Lee shouldn't be too complacent, because, of course, you might have had Bitegate. We had Slapgate. And when we face you again, we'll have Mr. Bong. Left back probably, so be warned. But no, I thought on the whole in the first half we played fairly well. It was 50-50 sort of thing. I felt like our midfield was being overrun, and they had more quality up front. So 1-0 down was a little bit disappointing. 2-0 down was worse, wasn't it? So. Yeah, well, no, 2-1 as it turned out to be. The goal coming back, I thought we were going to build on that, and we did.
Yeah, exactly. I thought as well. I thought.
I put it down as a 1-1 draw from the start. So
I did as well.
That's what I
think that was the common thing. I mean,
they just had that
really, we didn't
X factor. That's what.
Yeah, but
a little bit of extra class
up front. Yes,
when it was needed. They did.
Yeah, and people, I've seen people say things like, "Oh, Samba." I haven't seen the second goal, but I don't know, unless it went trickled through his legs or something that I couldn't see. It was on the other side of the pitch.
No, I couldn't see.
But he didn't have much to do, did he? Really, on the whole, you'd say you wouldn't concede 2 goals more often than not. You'd have 1 in the back of the net. on a day like that, and you'd fancy yourself to score 2 with the amount of attacking we did. So it wasn't really as bad as it normally is. It was a bit more like a normal Forest performance that you'd have expected if you went 10 years back. It's a bit more like a normal day out. But the same problems, bad substitutions. I felt like, in a way, the second half, the strikers came alive, we scored, and you thought, who are you going to take off? Well, Brennan started playing, Lolly started playing. You shouldn't take them off. And Taylor, I thought, had his best game today.
Taylor, 100%.
Not necessarily on attainment, but he just looked right. He looked like a proper player. So, and he hasn't done. He didn't do last season. He has done more this season. So I felt, in a way, it was kind of like not typical, but it was typical because, to me, there's 2 big problems. There's 2 very popular people who aren't very good at their jobs, in short. And if you took one of them out, you'd probably be successful. But with both of them in the team, everyone can probably guess the 2 people. I don't like pulling people out. And actually, I'll tell you, the other person I felt kind of sorry for today was our right back,
Gabriel. I thought he played well.
You liked it. I thought everything was. But I mean, it was summed up when he was sent a pass over and it bounced over his head at the end, and it was like, it's like,
people were proper knocking him, and I don't think he was that bad. Like
he isn't a terrible player.
He's not. I wouldn't say he's a terrible player.
No, sometimes you've got to accept that the opposition you're facing, a team like Bournemouth, they just even if they're putting kids in, they've still got that Premiership X factor. They've got that bit of class. And Brooks, other than some of the challenges he was doing, he's a quality player. You can't do much about it.
No, you're not going to win everything, are you? Football, even when you're a good team, when you win the league, there's not that much in it. It's small margins, as they famously say.
And that's what.
It's goals. It's goals. If we'd scored 1 more and they'd scored 1 less, we'd all be, everyone's smiles would all be around the other way and stuff, wouldn't
Brooks they? And it's
one kick of the football.
The thing, I was about to mention to Craig about Brooks. Like Brooks, he played like an old school winger. He played like
he was
on the wide position every single time. And the first half, like I said to Craig, he's going to score, and he did. And the second half, same time, played as wide as he can. But Craig, is that what he's been doing, like from last season and this season as well?
I think at times he did drift out of games last season. However, he's very, very competent. The season that he broke through here, where we signed him from Sheffield United, there was one game in particular when we played Brighton in the Premier League, and he was outstanding. He was cutting in, and the defence couldn't deal with him. And I'm thinking, from seeing what he's done today, it looks like he's getting that form back. He's cutting inside. He's doing. He's a quality act, and he's a bit of an old school winger, in a way. But he's a very, very good player. If he didn't get as much or wasn't as injury prone as he is, I think somebody would have already taken him off our hands. There was mentions a couple of seasons ago about Man United, and to be fair, with the money that Man United spend, there is absolutely no shadow of a doubt that we would have lost him. But I think he's an injury prone player. He wears his heart on his sleeve. I think some of the challenges he was making was a bit reckless, and I'm sure we're going to discuss that as well. I wouldn't say they were malicious, so to speak, but I would say that it was a little bit of a totting up procedure where, he'd been given a chance, and I think the second yellow card was a bit soft.
Never.
Again, he's a bit of a tough.
No.
it got away with one right in front of me just before that.
Yeah, there were lots.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? You know, I think it was a totting up.
One or the other, yeah.
Yeah, I think, you know, he was probably given his last warning. He did it again.
Yeah.
And, you know, I can't have no complaints about it. I think, you know, that second yellow card was harsh, but like you say, Lee, you know, he could have gone for the one just beforehand.
I mean, to be fair, McKenna had one, didn't he, where he chopped someone in the second half.
Yeah.
And the referee several times played on and then forgot about the original fouls. And actually, there were a couple of, you know, strangulation attempts in midfield by some of the Bournemouth players in the first half, and nothing happened, which they should definitely be a yellow card. There was about 4 occasions, and, you know, fair enough. But, you know, they weren't like dangerous, but they were tactical ones. Like Colback did one at the end and just got a straight one, no problem.
Yeah, but I think he did. I think that, you know, that Colback booking, Matt. I think he did that for the team.
Because, yes, of course he did. It was that was a Fernandinho kind of one where you've just got to do it, and it's like, you know, you take them, but he'll get slagged off for that, and that's, you know, but that's his job. He has to take them.
When he found, I went, for fuck's sake, Colback, and then I thought about it. I went, you know what?
I knew why he did it straight away.
He did it for the team.
For the team.
Yeah, he wasn't going to get a red card. It was a yellow, clean cut. Make sure he takes the guy, and it happens. Look, it's part of the game, isn't it? I mean, you can't complain, and time wasting and all that stuff. But we weren't smart. We had 30 minutes, didn't we, against 10 men? What? You've got to make decisions and make chances.
The question is, Matt, like I said, you just mentioned, like, when Brook got sent off, and it took, like, Carvalho came in, was it the 82nd minute?
About
what's the point?
8 to 10 minutes ago, he had 3 touches.
But one of them nearly made a goal, didn't it? But that's the thing. Going back to Brooks, all this inconsistency thing you say about Amiobi and those guys. If they were consistent, they'd be messy, wouldn't they? If they were good consistent, they'd be messy. And like you say, they'd be off to Man United if they were fit and they were that good all the time. They're not going to be. Any player we have isn't going to be. That's why you have 8 of them and you switch them around. You play the good ones and you hope the manager knows the one that's on fire this week and he picks him and he doesn't have to watch him for 80 minutes and then figure it out. That's what being a good manager's about, isn't it? You think, oh, they're all good. And they're not really. Yeah. I mean, that's the problem with flair players, isn't it? You know, it's always been that way.
The headache we've got now is, of course, now Brooks is suspended for the one match. That match will be against Birmingham City on, I believe it's Tuesday night. The issue with that is because we've got so many injuries, do we rush back somebody like Stanislas? Is Stanislas going to be ready? Because at times, Brooks did play second fiddle to Stanislas last season.
Did it?
Can I say, though, honestly, to Mr. Door's audience, we couldn't give a monkeys about any of that.
We do, but, you know.
That's Bournemouth stuff. We don't care about next Tuesday for Bournemouth. It's done. We're on to the next game.
Right, you're absolutely bellend. I'm going to talk. Right, let me talk about managers, and I'm going to start with you, Lee. I know you talk about hooting this, hooting that. Do you think he's out of depth with Forest?
Not necessarily out of depth. I think he needs to change his outlook a little bit. I mean, they go down to 10 men with what, half an hour to go? So he waits for 10 minutes, 8 minutes to go plus injury time to put Carvalho on. Why? Why not take the gamble? You're 2-1 down. Why not go for it? What you got to lose? You're losing anyway. It's just, I hate the negativity. Like, he's got a proven track record. How? He must have done something positive at some point, you know?
But you're losing as well. It's not 0-0 or anything. You're losing. It's not rocket science. You need to score a goal. No. You know, if you concede another one, who cares? Doesn't matter. Goal difference. Yeah, you put 3 at the back. You take Gabriel off, who's having not the best game ever. You stick the other fullback, who's very good on his favourite side, and you don't have your least creative midfield player left on the pitch delivering all the passes and making runs into the box. You have someone like grabbing and receiving them, and you have someone like Lolly or someone like that passing them. That's what you try and do. You don't.
I don't get the mentality. I really don't. Like,
no.
You either want to win. You can't keep going to every game to try and either get a 1-0 win and hold on to the lead, or just try and see a game out. You're 2-1 down. They've gone down to 10 men. Go for broke. I could swear. I don't want to swear, but like.
Well, it's not rocket science. There's no tactics, is there? Before the game, you might have sort of weighing things up, but he's always trying to steal the game. Who cares?
We know what's going to happen before we've kicked off. That's the thing. We already know.
Let me ask Craig. Right. Like as a Bournemouth fan, right?
Yeah.
Like you just hired Scott Parker.
Yeah.
As a Bournemouth fan, right, do you think Forest need to give Houghton time? Because, as you know, managers go round and round. So, as a Bournemouth fan, what do you think Forest needs to do with Houghton? Give him time, or if he loses Blackburn, get rid of him? What do you think?
Personally, I watched your video with Kevin Campbell, and that was really, really good. And one thing that Kevin did mention on there is that Houghton is under pressure right now. He has to get results. The Forest team, personally, I think you underachieved last season. Of course, you started the season with Liamucci, and then brought Houghton on board. Houghton had to work with what he was given at the start. This is his team now. This is his team. And I think the signings he's made are practical. I think they've been sensible signings. However, he has to start picking up results. I watched your game against Coventry, and for 70 minutes of that game, you was much the better side. You was much the better side. You was a goal up, and the problem was I think he just sat on that and thought, right, I'm just going to sit on this 1-0 lead.
That's what he does
being a Bournemouth. Well, being a Bournemouth fan, and how we actually managed to get our way out of this league under Eddie Howe was Eddie Howe, as you probably saw, just went for the juggler all the time. Now, there was times, in the Premier League where we would get hammered. Mostly, Man City always used to have the beating of us. Okay, yeah, they had the beating of most teams, but, some of the results, it could have been, even worse than what it was. But we always was going for it. That's how we got the results against Liverpool, Arsenal, Man United in there. We didn't sit back on those results. We just kept going. And, that was my criticism of him from that Coventry game. With regards to today, personally, you would have thought when we went down to 10 men, that he would have mixed it up, gone with a bit more attacking impetus, but there wasn't really, because of course you was 2-1 down at that point. Brooks got sent off a couple of minutes after Billing put it in the back of the net. You would have thought, right, okay, they're down to 10 men. Let's get some more attacking options and really go for this. If you get beat 3-1, then it's fair enough. But at least you've given, that.
At that point, we controlled the game without actually doing anything. We had a lot of possession, and that was no end result again. And that's the story of it, really. Well, today,
I tell you what, I think they should have done
more shots than we did.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, I mean, you didn't have that many shots, did you?
No, we didn't.
But
no, not at all.
You had 3 on target, from what I've seen. 3 on target. We only had 5 on target, but we had 15 shots. And I think it was 56% possession to your 44, whatever it was. Yeah,
Right. So, Matt, I'm asking you, Matt. Like, what player disappointed? Like, for me personally, I think Johnson. He wasn't up to his game today. Gabriel,
not the first half.
Yeah, I don't think Gabriel was as well. But what players disappoint you?
Well, I had Gabriel in front of me in the first half, and I felt sorry for the guy because he was getting the ball. He's not. He's not top draw, but he's a decent player, and he was a really good right back at one point. I think he had a big injury, and it affected him, and he's probably more of a centre half now, to be honest, I think. But anyway, he's playing right back. Yates wasn't helping him. at all. I don't think he was hiding. If you watch it, he'll always be in the wrong place to receive the ball, and he's pointing somewhere else. And he was just pumping it up the line most of the time, and he was getting it back, and he was having to shield it, and he was, it was a mess, really. He wasn't doing anything. And we were being bombed down his side. And you went down there all the time. I know you scored the first goal on the other side of the field, but it was a massive weakness. And I felt sorry for him in a way. I mean, I'd go and play. If Cuton pick me, I'll go and play, but don't pick me the second time. You know what I mean? And I just felt, he was left to hang out to dry. And at the end, I'd have brought on Forner myself because he can pass the ball around. I'm a massive. I would pick Jack Colback first every week.
You would.
No, but I'm just saying, put that to one side. Yeah. I would have put on Forner for this because he was a better man for the job today. He would have spun it around left and right.
Yates had a poor game. I thought Yates was poor today, and I'm not trying to get.
Well, hold the front page
because I know a lot of people are mixed with him. I just thought he wasn't good today. He wasn't good today.
No, if you watch, again, fair play to him. I think he knows his own limitations. He does not want the ball. He takes a long time, and he'll always pass it backwards. It's great to play against, and I think there's a bit like you ask. Like a Bournemouth fan, do you like Chris? Lee was very fair, I'm not sure sort of thing. But a lot of people say, yeah, great, you keep him. We're playing you next week. Brilliant. We'll just get a goal and we can sit back and nick another one sort of thing. It's great for everyone else, but it's not particularly great for us. I'd like a manager that actually, like Billy Davis. You do want to play against the Billy Davis team. No, I'm not put aside all the stuff off the field.
To be fair, we haven't had one since Billy. The rest,
no,
we haven't. But the rest are carbon copies. Lamucci, O'Neill, even Cranker, they're all defensive-minded managers. You know
what?
And it's boring. I'm bored.
Lamucci went completely mental. During the lockdown, he just went. He's like, we're in second place. We beat Leeds, and we should have been in the top two. We were on the. We were. Look at what's happened with Leeds.
We was a point behind Leeds at that point.
We were digging trenches and stuff and putting up barbed wire to try and keep out the other teams. It was absolutely ridiculous. It was like, keep the ball. We don't know what to do with it. Just keep it. It was so negative. I've never seen such negative football. And to be honest, Houghton's virtually continued that legacy. Yes,
and then Lyle Taylor came to the City ground and scored.
Well, everywhere, a lot of people did.
I'm going to bring in a question because there's a Derby fan called Lisa Howard coming in. Stop murder you want to have at the club. I have in a minute. To be fair, we should have won today. Forest have some good players. You'll be fine. If no one knows, Derby got done over today by Peterborough. And when Peterborough scored the second goal, the concourse went mad.
I was watching it on Sky Sports, and I thought, how did they score? I was forwarding through. It's like he can't score. They can't score. The ball's going right to his feet. He sits on it. He falls on his ass. He passes it to them. They stick it in the corner. It's brilliant.
I thought it was funny as hell. But we'll talk about Derby next time because I haven't got time. No offense, Lisa.
Sorry, Lisa.
No, but the point is, what are we trying to do? I would say put promotion out the window. Like last season, we weren't going to get promoted, but at least develop Mighton. At least play some of the other kids. Arrive at this season with some kind of a vision, something you can believe in. I don't know what he's trying to do. I can't see any movement.
Because I can only see mid-table. I can't see anything else. I can't see.
But I can't see any evolution in any direction.
No.
I can't see anything.
Only the young kids that are starting to hold their own. That's all I see. And fair play to them. They've got no fear anyway. Other than that, in terms of the club going forward, at the minute, I don't see it.
No. Be more by luck than judgment. I mean, look at the captaincy. Look at the captaincy. How can you not pick McKenna or Worrell to be captain? It's so easy. How can't you? You can't give it to a young. You can't give it to a young kid. If Yatesy was the best player in the team, he's a lovely bloke, I think, and he's a great character. And it's not fair. But he's a guy that should be playing 5 or 10 games a season and a few sub appearances when people get suspended. He shouldn't be the guy, the main guy, the captain.
to League One.
It's upside down. It's upside down. It's
I
just
love
ridiculous.
this debate. I love this debate. I do apologise, Craig. I've never,
No, that's all right, mate.
I've never seen Matthew and Lee talk so much.
It's normally you, Ben.
Ben says nothing, but I'm waiting for Ben to give us an opinion.
Right. This is my opinion, right? And people in the comments, you can disagree, right? I just feel, right, like, we know, like, he brought 14, like, Forest brought 14 players under Lucha. He, like, everyone goes on about, we need a left back, we need a striker. We're not, you need to remember, we're going to get players on loan. We're not going to get a striker for 5 million. If we buy a player who costs like 5 million, we've got to sell. We've got to sell
anyway.
We have to sell anyway.
We have to sell to pay for the loans.
Yeah, like with like players that've been linked away as Joe Worrell, Brendan Johnson. I don't think Martin will go. I think he's out of them too. Like Joe was out for 2 weeks now, and when does the transfer window close? End of the month, don't it?
Soonish, yeah. I think it's quite soon. I don't know.
Right.
I don't even think about it.
like Lee, like Craig, would you take one of the Forest players to Bournemouth? Like we've got.
Harry Arter. He's good at this time.
Harry Arter come back to
Give us our 5 million.
To be honest, Harry is an absolute legend at this club.
Take him! Bournemouth, take him!
We'll throw in a statue.
However,
you can have Arter back. 5 million.
However, I think we've moved on from that now. How old is Harry? He's probably about 33, 34, hasn't he?
He's not. The Greeks can sort out a passport that'll work.
The thing with Harry Arter, and he went off the boil the second season in the Premier League. He was fantastic in that promotion season. He was imperative to that. And when he went on loan to Fulham, it looked like he was really enjoying his football. He was doing well. And I think that prompted Forest to come in for him. I just don't understand what's gone wrong again for him. You know, is he falling out with people? It's a real shame. He's not even got a squad number there.
No,
so that says it all.
Your players not to come to us.
Well, yeah, I've heard that. Yeah, I have.
Godwin.
But to be fair to him, I know I've kind of joking, taking back. It's only because we haven't got any use for him. But you get people like him, Jakob, Milosevic, Benalouan. They're good players. They're characters. Gedura. They're potentially world stars. They're some of our potentially best players. Top draw. Not for Forest. Not for Forest. We throw out the rubbish and we throw out the diamonds with the rubbish. And we buy the rubbish back. You know what I mean? It's insane. You can't make it up. You get someone like Jakob, I think he hardly put a foot wrong, and he plays centre half for us. Yeah, I didn't like him at all when we signed him. It's like, why we don't need him and stuff. He was a great character, strong guy. He stepped up. He played centre half. Milosevic, what did he do wrong? What did Ayanu do wrong? You sign Ayanu and he plays like 4 or 5 games. He's brilliant. He's a bit average for one, and then he gets sent off. You loan him out for the next 2 years, and you haven't even got a left back. You know, you've got a left back, but you've sent him off to some godforsaken place.
And this is the problem. Like, as you know, people, we've got. I don't know if you know this, Craig. We've desperate for a left back. As Matt just mentioned, we get rid of Ayolu, we get rid of Ribeiro. Homesick, and then
that's an easy excuse, isn't it? That's when they don't want to offer you a contract or you don't want to sign. Homesick covers everything, doesn't it?
Exactly. And then we get rid of Blackett. He's gone to America, and now this is the problem. We've not got a left back, and this is the problem with today's game. Like Brooks, he absolutely hammered the new guy who Forest signed on loan.
To be fair, I thought the new guy played really well today.
He was good.
I thought he was very good.
But I felt
he's not a left back.
Exactly, I felt sorry because Brooks,
and he was still immense. I thought he was really good.
Yeah, that's my point. Yeah. And Brooks, he played as wide as he can.
Yeah.
And I said, and he was stretching him so much. Yeah. And I thought,
But that was good. That was a good fight, wasn't it? It was two warriors going at it, wasn't it? And it was good.
He looked quality, to be fair to him.
Yeah. Well, they both were. It was two quality players pushing each other. It was a good contest. Yeah, it was entertaining. It was a little bit of the pitch that was quite entertaining, wasn't it?
100%.
I'd have rather it be. But he was doing some wonderful stuff. I mean, like I say, Brooks did some good stuff for you, but he got him sent off in the end, didn't he? Running around it.
Yes, yeah.
You know? So 1-1.
He looks a quality player, I've got to say.
Right. Craig, I'm going to talk about Scott Parker. Like you got from Fulham. Do you think he's the man to get you up?
Just going back to last season, personally, I thought Jonathan Woodgate did a good job. Jason Tin. Yeah, Craig, I think he steadied the ship.
Remember the conversation we had last season? And I said to Jonathan Woodgate is wank.
To be honest,
I said he's whack, and I did. I said.
I don't think the board ever had that much faith in him. The thing was he come in a couple of days before Jason Tindall was sacked, and Jason Tindall he'd been part of the Eddie Howe regime for years. He started off really well, some fantastic performances, and it tailed off. And I think it was when he had to start making the changes to the squad himself. Yeah. He also had a very unhappy Josh King. Josh King was throwing all his toys out the pram, by the looks of things. Yeah. And in the end, he went off to Everton. And there was a couple of games in succession. So we got beat by Derby. We got beat by Reading. To be honest, the Reading game was embarrassing, put nicely. We was 3-0 down. If Reading had shown that same impetus through the whole 90 minutes, it could have been 6, 7, 8-0. It was embarrassing, put nicely. And then we went to play Sheffield Wednesday, which was his last game. Went 1-0 down, got it back to 1-1, and then conceded right at the end. But in those two games, he made 3 substitutions, and he just completely lost the plot. So Woodgate steadied the ship. He steadied the ship. He didn't pull up any trees. He wasn't, you wouldn't say, he's a fantastic manager to go forwards with. I think with Scott Parker, he did a very, very good job of getting Fulham back up to the Premier League. Last season, he had a lot of players on loan. They were quite some way behind the line. So, there is those nagging doubts that if we do get out of the league, is he the right man once we get in there? You would hope that he wouldn't have to rely on loans here, even though Fulham should.
Do you regret getting rid of Howe, though? Because I think he's a good manager, Howe.
I think Eddie needed time out from the game. So if you watched towards the end of that, and after Project Restart, so before Project Restart, we were doing really well. We went 1-0 up against Liverpool, eventually getting beat by them. It wasn't a big defeat. It was 2-1 defeat. We also drew against Chelsea, and then bang, Project Restart comes in, and I think he struggled to get the team going. I think he felt let down by certain players. Ryan Fraser, the Snake, decided he wasn't going to play for the club at all. Oh, honestly, mate, it was 9 games. It was 9 games. Would he have kept us up? I think probably would have, because we were in a good position at that time.
What was the Forest player that? What was the Bouremouth player that Forest wanted to sign, but he went to Watford? That was
Gosling.
Yeah.
Sorry, Gosling. Yeah,
that's where Arthur came in.
This is where Harry Arthur come in.
Yeah. That was a weird one. That was a weird one because I think honestly, I would have preferred to keep Gosling. I think Gosling towards the back end of the season. But to be fair, Mr. Dore, going back to Woodgate, towards the end of the season,
Rubbish.
we got beat by Wycombe. We got beat by Stoke. We didn't show any impetus. Now, if we had won those games, or won one of those games, we only needed to win one. And let's be honest, Wycombe, we should, with the quality we have, should have beat them.
Yeah.
We would have been playing instead of Brentford, who were easily the best team. I personally, I think they were better than the top two.
Oh,
they were the team that, when they come down here or when we went there, they were the team that stood out to me. We would have avoided them. We would have played either Swansea or Barnsley instead. And, I think anything could have happened at Wembley. So I think, Woodgate probably created a rod for his own back with those games at the end of the season. Yeah, we went 1-0 up in the playoff semi-final, went 2-0 up early in the second leg, and then Metham just had a mental moment and panicked. But I think Scott Parker is the right man. I think he's the right man to, get us back up. And we have to do it this season. We can't fail to do it this season.
You'll be in the mix. You'll be in the mix.
I think you'll be. I think Bournemouth will be in the mix. But I think. Right, this question for you, both Matt and Lee. As everyone knows, Forest, 2 defeats in a row. Blackburn on Wednesday, and if we lose that, Hooton's in big trouble. What players, what managers would you want? And people in the comments, who would you want if Hooton sacks? I'll stay with you. Let me stick with you, Lee. Go on, Lee. You start first.
Wilder or Howe? Eddie Howe. I like the way he plays football, but he might suit the Championship more than the Premiership. I don't know. But at the minute, we just need to get out of the Championship. It's not going to happen this season. Not sure when it is.
I hear you. When everyone says about the Championship, it's the second best league. It's not. It's a horrible league.
I'll worry about the Premiership.
It's a horrible.
Get there again.
Listen to me. It's a horrible league. I don't know if you know this, Craig.
This division.
It's a horrible league. It is a horrible.
We don't build the squad. Whenever we're getting good players, out the door they go because of FFP, and then we sign shit. Let's be honest.
And parachute payments, you can't compete, can you? There's one place each year maximum.
I can't fault Bournemouth.
Really?
We can't moan at them because they're getting that money, or any other club that comes down. Because if that was us, we'd take it. I'll tell you what, I'd happily be a West Brom and yo-yo up and down. Just for a bit of stability,
no problem.
To keep some good players and build a team.
Yeah.
At the minute, we can't compete like that. We just can't. And it's just
in a way, it's great fun, isn't it? You don't mind having a relegation battle if you're going to get promotion the next season. It's an ideal scenario. No. I'd rather that than be mid-table Premier League or something.
That's fine.
Can I answer that one as well?
Yes, Craig, you can answer it.
I think you should go for Howe. If Houghton goes, I think you should go for Howe.
But this is my opinion. I don't know if people want to.
Whether we can afford him.
The thing with Howe, right? I personally think he was at Bournemouth for so long. I just don't think he's a Forest man.
I think what he would do for Forest though is and whether or not the faithful there will give him the time is another thing. But what he will do is he'll pluck players from League One and League Two that show promise. Look at our squad that got us up. You had Charlie Daniels, who was at Leyton Orient. You had Harry Arter, who was at Woking. You had Steve Cook, that was in the midst of nowhere. You had Mark Pugh, who was at a very poor Hereford side.
Yeah.
He will pluck players like that. Personally, I think if Eddie Howe was here, this season, I think we would have probably gone in for somebody like Scott Twine, who was at Swindon, was on loan at Newport, because of not throw them straight in, but a player that he can build up. So there would be that time, there would be that transition period. But I think he would get you moving in the right direction. He would get you competing at the very top. And enough time, I think he probably would get you out of this division.
Right, next question, and this is for you, Matt and Lee. As you know, like Carvalho got 10 minutes. Would you start him against Blackburn? Because in the trend 10, everyone kept saying Carvalho, blah, 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 but who
quick thing, if I can, before you do that, all these project restarts and all this kind of stuff, we're talking about managers. When did Forest ever have any of these things? It's just a shambles.
That never happened.
Yeah. No, but it's just a shambles, isn't it? You know, really? We can't have these conversations at all. Yeah. That's the problem. And going back to the managers, I personally think that the biggest mistake we ever made was the Karanka thing. Because I think everything was right. It was his players. They were happy. It was a family. And it was all because someone else thought, yeah, we should dabble and we should get to pick the players and things like this. He wasn't going to stand for it. And that was the biggest mistake. And since then, it's all out of kilter.
Carvalho was firing.
Yeah, right, Carvalho was his boy.
Yeah, but you know what done me with Cranky, right? And you know that Norwich game, that Norwich game killed me. That literally killed me. And yes, Cranky, fantastic. He was. What were we in the playoffs? What we said? I think it was 7th.
We were right there, near enough. We were in the top 6, just around, sort of thing.
Yeah, that Norwich game killed me. I think that what killed me.
Yeah. But that was all pressure to play Diaz. But it was just a freak. But look, 3-3 at Norwich, I take that this season. Are you dreaming? That kind of result, 5-5 at Villa and stuff. Those are results to only dream of. We're not a team like that now. Matt, and that was those were the things we had nightmares about.
Right, let me have some answers. Right. And this is for you, Craig. Right, if you're 3-0 up, 15 minutes to go, and you draw on 3-3, would you take that? Would you take that, Craig?
No.
That's my point, Matt. You got.
No. But you've got to just look at the result. God, do you prefer a quick death or a slow death? It's still a death. You know what I mean? If you're going to lose. I would rather go out on my shield, and you win. In the end of the day, it's a campaign. It's not one result. But we were having nightmares about drawing away at the best team in the league, give or take. You know how crazy is that? How crazy is that? Scoring 3 goals. But scoring 3 goals. Yeah, but at least you can say, oh, we're going to score 3 goals next week, every week away from home. We're going to win most games. I'll take the odd draw.
Yeah, but to be fair, the ref handed on 9 minutes from nowhere.
It was an awful. It was a tragic game, but it was all because Diaz. They wanted to give Diaz time, you know, and that's what it all came from. So I understand.
Flying at Benfica now, so he signed for Benfica.
Oh yeah, they're all good players. They're all good players.
We had on loan that were no good for us. Are flying at Benfica, aside miles above us. So what's that?
Just going back to your Kevin Campbell, as we've all seen that interview, I think the most important thing is team spirit.
Yeah.
And I personally, if I could pick the manager, I would pick Clough. And I know it's the most stupid thing to say, Nigel Clough. Yes. Yeah. He's a Forest person. He's going to do a competent job. He understands the club more than anyone. I know it's a cliche. It's ridiculous. No, yes, but I don't think it matters. Like Pierre said, you know, a rabbit could have got us promoted with Harry Bassett. I loved Harry Bassett, but that's what Campbell was talking about. The changing room was happy. Yeah. And that's the most important thing. You can't honestly say the changing room at Forest now is happy. And I don't blame the players. It's the way half of them are sent off to the bomb squad. The other half, their mates are in the bomb squad. You've got Harry Arter telling his mate not to come. It's because it's a toxic, dysfunctional environment. You want them to all be in there to fight for each other. Yeah, you've got, and the manager just has to be someone that appreciates that, and all the players buy into it.
So who's
I think
he seems a nice guy.
I'm loving this.
He's a nice guy. He's a nice guy.
People in the comments.
I guarantee you that half the players, I guarantee you 3/4 of the players don't believe in what he's doing at all.
And that's the problem then.
Craig, these two are like this all the time. So I'm
just to wade in to the Houghton argument, though, as well. Houghton has got promoted from this division on 2 occasions, but you've got to look at the sides that he got promoted with. So the first one was with Newcastle, a Newcastle side that had a lot of quality coming down from the Premier League. Going back to what you mentioned there, I think anybody, could have got that Newcastle team back up. With regards to Brighton, I think that was a longer term project. But
projects, sorry to put in, but when you hear about projects, you hear about you need 2 years or 3 years. Forest will never have a project.
That's the problem. See, the thing is, if Eddie Howe come to Forest, I don't think he'd have the time, which he did here, because going back, and this is going back a long time ago. So, of course, Eddie went to Burnley. We was in League One. Lee Bradbury took over, got us into the playoffs. We got beat by Huddersfield. The following season, Bradbury left and Paul Groves come in. And with that exact same squad, Eddie Howe didn't really add that many players to it when he come back. We was fighting. We looked like we were going to be fighting relegation. Well, we was in the relegation zone at one point. Paul Groves managed to pull us out a little bit. Eddie Howe was fired. Eddie Howe come back because I believe his wife wasn't very happy up at Burnley. I'm not really surprised, Oh, we love Burnley. We do. Can't stand them. But the thing was he got us.
The only thing about Burnley is Ian Woon. That's it. Nothing else.
There's nothing really else to say about Burnley, is there? Actually, I had on my show a guy called Andy Hodgson. Actually, it's quite laughing. He's the bid TV or price drop TV. Alan Partridge. I tell you what, it was so funny, getting him to actually sell Burnley to me in 30 seconds. It's like an impossible task, isn't it? Let's be fair. Exactly. Derby's not an easy sell, is it, really? I think anybody would run a mile from Derby at the moment.
Listen, don't pack these.
No, but the thing, can I say also, though, it's not necessarily, I'm slagging off Houghton a little bit, but he's a nice guy. It's all about the fit, isn't it? I mean, he's been successful elsewhere. No one can take that away from him. But equally, no one's saying he's doing a great job. Just look at it. You can see it. They're all saying, oh, do we give him time? Is it suddenly going to come up? He's going to pull it right out of his arse. Because there's no sign of it. He's got to be like a David Chipperfield and sort of levitate, and they'll be like, "Whoa!" That's what people are waiting for. They're literally saying he could be the next Clough because that's what Clough did, and it's like he's not going to be, is he? I'd like to see just steady progression. I'd like to see harmony in the changing room. I'd like to see a plan
and all the rest, because there's no sign up for it. It's all negative.
What did he say when he took the job? When you go for a job, you've got to go in there and say, here's my plan. Bosh. I'm going to do this. I'm going to get in young players. We need pace. We need defence. Whatever it is, some kind of crap he's got to come up with. He's got to have some kind of thing that someone buys into to give him the job. What was it? I still don't know. I honestly don't think. It could be a 5-year project. I still won't know what he's trying to do. Because there's no sign, there's no evidence.
But listen to that. I spoke to Kevin Campbell. When I spoke to Kevin the other day, right, I said to him, I don't believe in projects. I don't believe in transition. I don't believe in that. Like, come on, we've been in this league for 23 years now. There's no.
But what are we trying to get promoted? And how the hell are we trying to do it by hardly touching the ball and just defending? You won't get relegated, but you're not going to get promoted. You've got to be kidding. Has a team ever got promoted this way? It's never happened. I've got
to be honest. You underachieved last season, and this season looks like a continuation of that. So, it's not a poor squad. You've got
got
some
a good
real
squad.
quality there.
We've got
You
a
have
good
got
squad.
some real quality, but for some reason he's not pulling it together. Now, say for
It's
example,
weaker than it has been, though. To be fair, it's quite threadbare now. Before we had like 3 good teams. We
numbers wise, yeah.
Right. The thing about last season we had a big squad. This season we're weaker. We're weaker.
Yeah, well, we've got no fullbacks basically.
No fullbacks. We haven't got
loads of goalies as usual.
Exactly. We've got loads of goalkeepers. Like we've got was it last season we had about 4 strikers? No, well 3, 4. But then like Taylor, like I feel sorry for Taylor because he hasn't got that the person that can say like Joe Lowe for me. I think he was awful. Joe Lowe wasn't great with his set pieces yet again. I don't know. Like I'm struggling to, I don't know, be passionate about Forest. But
Zinkenagel was good today.
He was good.
Yeah, he's a good player.
He stood out for me.
But wait and see what he'll be like in 3 months' time or something when he's when his mates had been executed or something like that. He won't. It's not a healthy environment, is it? That's why they don't perform. What is it? It's that.
Why can't Houghton see it? We can see it needs a bit of attacking flair and positivity. I know. I'll wait till there's 8 minutes left, stick Carvalho on, see if he can have more than 3 touches, and then if he does something, you can't expect a bloke to get into a game with 10 minutes left.
I think the honest truth is those footballers love playing football. They're professional footballers. There's the money, there's the fame, there's the career, there's transfers, there's agents, but basically they want to go on a football pitch, play football and enjoy it. The money comes anyway. Yeah, they want to win. They don't want to be losers. They don't want to. No one enjoys being a loser.
He was happy on that bench when he'd rather be the man that everyone's chanting his name. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh no. And who thought that? Carvalho is a soccer nerd. He's not like people think. He cares passionately. He cares as much as anyone else in the team. But he looks like a mardy little shit, doesn't he? He looks like a mardy little. To me, that's how he displays on the pitch.
Won't play him. He looks like he's come back with
but he's got more talent in his little finger than and the problem is the problem is if he's in the team, Joe Lolly becomes a better player. Nuno da Costa suddenly starts scoring goals or
you can't have that. You can't be positive.
I saw him walking through Bridal Smithgate yesterday, and I think he said he's fit for Wednesday. So that's hot off the press. But that's what it's all about, though, isn't it? It's about bringing things to boiling point. Then all these average players become good players. But you can't have a load of Portuguese guys that are in a huff, a French guy that no one knows, 3 people that never even spoken to the manager yet, but their family have moved to the other side of the country because they'd rather be somewhere else. It's not going to work, is it?
No.
It's not going to work. It's not rocket science. You're not going to beat a happy, ambitious Bournemouth team or anyone else like that. You're not going to finish in those top spaces in the league. You're avoiding relegation because you're throwing so much money at it.
I love Matt's passion. He's a passion.
Well, but honestly, I tell you what. In my whole life, I'm less sort of engaged with Forest at the moment. Like now, I can watch a game and not even shout. I can't be bothered. Which is sad. It's sad.
Right,
part of me has died.
No, it is right. Like I said, I spoke to Kevin the other day. No, this season, when the season started, I said, I'm like Craig. I said, I am a passionate when it comes to being a Forest fan. Like this season, I'm not because my expectations. Everyone's gonna say I want top 6. I'm not. We're not good enough for top 6. We'll get mid-table.
No chance.
No chance.
I said, I did a preview show with a West Brom fan. And even though I think West Brom will win the league, we was discussing as well the dark horses, this season. And I said Forest straight away. I thought you guys, would really pick up the pace this season. There were signs last season that you've got a quality team. You underachieved. You're still underachieving. And to be honest, going back to your question before, if Houghton can't beat Blackburn, if you get beat by Blackburn, I think he is under immense pressure. And, I would not be surprised to see your board make that change at that point. Because
the new CEO is going to do something. It's his job, isn't it? He's got to come in and do something. I heard today he sacked like 25 people straight off the bat on the first day. Insignificant people that don't really kind of matter, in inverted commas. So it's his job. So he should be doing something. I hope, from what I hear, he's a capable guy and he's a man of action. So I would be I would be trying to look like I'm doing something. Apparently, it's a give or take. I mean, there might be a bit of artistic license. It might be 15, but apparently he came in and a lot more people left pretty quick. So, but to me, throughout the club, it's the wrong people. I think, I saw Stan Collymore last night, and he was talking about Forest, saying it's all about the brand, embracing the past, and how sad it was when around the Billy Davies era and stuff, we took away all the history. And he was saying, I wanted to be a Forest player because of all that. And it's the draw. And they all say it when they sign, it's the history and all this stuff. It's all the tick the boxes sort of thing. But it's so special. Forest is so special. However crap we are, it's one of the most special teams in the country. And Collymore was saying, with all due respect to our Bournemouth friend who's just whipped our ass, it's like you've got the northern teams, the Manchesters and all this, and the London teams, and Forest should be one of the 2 or 3 Premier Midlands teams. No, we're becoming it's expectation management. And Houghton made going from 7th to 17th or whatever it was a success. God help us if we're really successful, we'll be down in League 2. What's going on? No, well, hopefully not.
Right, look around. We'll talk about this, Matt.
Sorry, what was that? No, I don't know. I don't know. What was the question?
Matt can talk forever, and he can carry on. This is what Matt's like. We always have to look at the debate, don't you, Matt?
Yeah, well, we do. Yeah, we bump into each other in the street sometimes in Nottingham in the middle of the night, and it's like he's clapping, all this sort of stuff. He's asked me the Carvalho question many a time. Going back to the Carvalho question, you should pick him. You should be using him, shouldn't you? He should be playing. And like Brennan today didn't play so well, but he played brilliantly in the first game. You have 2 players that can do it. You pick the one that's going to do it on the day. You leave the other one to have a rest. It's simple, isn't it? And you might get it wrong, but if you're a good manager, you pick the right one, don't you?
Carvalho needs to be playing constantly, even if he has a bad game. Don't drop him. Keep him in there. Then his skill.
He'll do more. He'll do more effective things at the end of the season. I mean, look. Alex Mighton, I think, is a great talent, but really his actual output is negligible. But everyone's getting more and more excited about him. You think he was really, really doing something. And I don't blame him. It's all like you were just saying about these young players. You've got to nurture them. You bring them in just enough at the right times. Like today against 10 men would have been the perfect time to give Forner a go. Yeah. He would have had all his bravery, taken the ball, spread it about. He could have really put on a display and become, even better player just by playing, even if we still lost. Really but instead, we just went with plan A, boring old plan A, for the left foot. It's just, what was the point?
Yeah. Right. Matt, you finished?
Yeah.
Finish, Matt. Right, people, time is a bit ticking. Right, any questions you want to ask about today's game? But because time is ticking, got 2 more minutes.
I think Matt's covered it all.
Matt covered everything. Right, last one. Craig, where do you think Bournemouth will finish?
2nd. I think West Brom will win it. I think we'll finish just above Fulham at the moment, but it's early days.
I think 4th.
Do you think so? Yeah. We've got a lot of players to come back. The youngsters that we've got. So you've got Jayden Anthony, Kilkenny, Zamora, Rossi, Travers in goal, who I think, really we need to strengthen maybe, have somebody who will challenge him in the goalkeeping department. Somebody... We lost Begovic. We had to sell Begovic. Well, we had to let Begovic go because of the wages to kind of balance the books. But those are all young players. We've still got the likes of Dan Juma, Stanislas, Steve Cook, Lewis Cook to come back. Lewis Cook, fantastic player, quality player. Stacey's phenomenal.
He's the right back, is it? He's right back, left back.
He's right back.
Right back.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's right back. But he's been fantastic, and you know, his link-up play is absolute quality. He can, to be honest, play on the left as well. Lloyd Kelly played there a lot of the time last season. But there's a lot of promise. To be honest, you can't look past Zamora at the moment for the left back position. Keep Kelly in the centre with Chris Metham. So I personally think, you know, we should be able to. Well, we've got enough in the tank to get out of this division. Now, whether or not we do is another thing, because, of course, as we found last season, we went off the boil around Christmas time, and that's what killed us.
Woodgate's fault.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. I think it was Tyndall, and I think Jason had to make the. You know, and I've met Jason on a number of occasions, and he's an absolutely lovely guy, really nice guy. He's ingrained into the football club. You know, he was Eddie Howe's number 2. When he had to make those decisions, I don't think he made the right ones, which is a real shame. You know, should he have got a little bit longer? Well, at the time, my heart was speaking, and I thought, well, you know, because of what he's done here, you know, I wanted him to have a little bit longer. But in, you know, looking back, we couldn't carry on. We could have missed out on the playoff. To be honest, Reading blew it. You know, after we played them and should have got absolutely thrashed and annihilated by them, they kind of went off the boil. So it was a good run that Woodgate put together, combined with Reading completely tailing off, that actually got us back into the playoffs. We should have finished higher. We should have beaten Wickham. Should have beaten Stoke. But I think Woodgate just put the impetus off. But we've got enough in the tank. We've just got to go, you know, 44 more games. You know, if we can play like we have done in the first 2, you know, I'm very confident, because we played well against West Brom.
Right, I'm going to get going. But Lee and Matt, thank you for coming on. Craig, thank you very much for coming on. Before we do, Craig, put a plug on your channel.
Yep, so I run a channel called Up the Cherries in All Departments. It's abbreviated UTCIAD. You are going to be coming on as well, Mr. Dore, aren't you? To do our first raw reaction video to today's game. So
I have to. I don't want to know.
Why is it raw? Is it like in the nude or something like that? That sounds. I've seen some videos like raw. Well, that's mainly what it is.
Yeah. But literally, it will be a case of covering our game and then ripping into some of the other results as well. Yes, which one will be the Derby game as well. So yeah, I'm sure you're looking forward to that. But yeah, we had some great guests on. Do a lot of opposition previews. I used to be part of a team called Back of the Net, which is another Bournemouth channel, but went off on my own. But I've interviewed the likes of Professor Brian Cox, Nick Owen, Monty Panesar, so Natalie Sawyer twice. So yes. Say no more.
Monty Panesar twice.
But yeah, it's you know, I love doing this and love, you know, engaging with opposition fans. I've never met a bad fan.
Craig, if you want to take Matt off my hands, you can.
Free transfer.
Matt,
you couldn't do the wages.
Come down to the south coast. Look, you know, I'll give you a drive round.
I'm from the south. I should have started with Bournemouth years ago when you were crap.
Exactly.
I'd
you
be
know,
all set now, wouldn't I?
Well, I moved down, believe it or not, in the -17 season from Reading. Believe it or not, of all places. My family thought I was absolutely bloody bonkers for following this shit team that, you know, to be fair, looked like, you know, if we hadn't survived that season, wouldn't exist. So it could have been the shortest
Well, I'm from Surrey, so I could have come down to Bournemouth just as easy. But I was in Florida. I came back from Florida to Nottingham to come home to watch the football 4 years ago. So how crazy is that? That was, mind you, that was when it was Karanka. So I'd be going to somewhere like Belarus or somewhere like Iran now, if instead of coming back here at the moment.
I'll tell you what. One thing that will please you, I did go to university in Nottingham, and I did go to City Ground a couple of times. I know that. Going back, there was a game. I went to an FA Cup game, I believe it was, against Spurs.
2-2.
Yes, I believe it was. I believe it was. It was about 2000. It was in between 2004 and 2006.
Oh no! What? 2006?
2000 between 2004 and 2006. I reckon probably 2005.
Was that? Matt, what? 3-0?
Is it when the keeper ran off the pitch? And
I'm too young.
We
lost 3-0. We lost. Yeah, I think we lost 3-0.
I can't remember. It's such a bloody long time ago.
We lost 3-0. I think we lost 3-0 in the League Cup. I remember it.
Was it the League Cup? Was it?
Yeah, it was League Cup.
Yeah,
we lost 3-0. Oh, was it the FA Cup? Was it FA Cup? It was one of the cups.
I was thinking it was the FA Cup. It was.
It was FA Cup. Yeah.
It was bloody freezing.
Huh?
It was bloody freezing.
Is that when it was all misty and no one could see?
No, that
yes, it was a misty night.
That was in the 90s we were drawn 2-2 when Ian Wayne scored a wonderful goal, didn't it? But in the 2000s we lost 3-0.
Yeah.
In the FA Cup. I think it was. If I remember.
I think it was. I'm sure it was the FA Cup. But yeah, so I used to come down to the City Ground every now and again, to watch the local side, when I was up there. And, honestly, got so much time for Forest. You should do. Yeah.
You didn't switch. It wasn't that good. I should have changed to you being supporting us now. He's saying how great we are. I was like, yeah, great. You stay below us. We'll be in the top 6.
I was a bit of bad. Well, negative karma really, because didn't you get relegated to League One?
Oh, that was
around that sort of time as well.
That's just a vicious rumour. Never happened.
What year was that? That was 2000.
That was around 2006, I think.
Yeah, Gary Megson.
Junior Gogo and stuff like that, wasn't it?
I did have a friend though that supported Derby and offered to take me down to Pride Park, and I refused on every single occasion. So yeah. To be honest, I went to Derby on a night out once, and I thought it was shit. So
Oh, you've gone up in my estimations now.
right, people. We're gonna get going now. I'm not doing my job anymore.
No, before I go, I think that the thing is today, the biggest thing from today, we lost the game of football, but what we should remember, going back to the club for the first time for so long, is what a great club it is, and the same with Bournemouth, the same with every other club, and Forest should be more Forest. Forest should remember it's a great club, and everyone, the owners, everyone that works there, the manager, every one of the players, don't worry about winning and losing football games. Behave like you need to at a great club, and we'll become a great club again. At the moment, there's a lot well below that, in the terms of the ambition on the pitch, the behaviour, the way things are done, the way people are treated. It should be a place where everyone wants to go, everyone feels welcome, and players want to sign, play for us, and when they go, they're happy they were there and they wish they were still there. And that applies to every club, but it's not true of Forest at the moment, and it should be. And when it is, we'll be successful.
Right, we'll end up that. Thank everyone. Thank everyone for coming on. Thank you, Craig. Thank you, Matt.
Yes,
thank you, Lee. My vlog will be out tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. I am doing it now. I'm editing. I will be doing some after this. I'm doing something with Craig afterwards. So it's a long night for me. If you did enjoy this, please do hit the like button. Subscribe if you know. And I am.
It's going to be a big editing job.
A massive editing job.
I thought you said a few swear words, but I don't think you did.
I will never swear.
No,
but
never mind.
But yeah, people, thank you very much for everyone watching. And don't forget my vlog, 10 a.m. in the morning. Peace and love, everyone. Up the Forest. Go on, Craig. Say it, Craig. Up the Forest.
It's good.
Up the cherry. Cheers, guys.
All right. Thanks a lot. Nice to talk.